Welcome to another edition of Ballet Austin Live. I'm your host, PEI-SAN Brown, and I'm joined by Ballet Austin's Artistic Director, Stephen Mills, as well as Maestro Peter Bay of the Austin Symphony Orchestra. They're in the final preparations for Cinderella, which will be performing at the Long Center May 6th through the 8th. Welcome to Stephen and Peter.
Happy to be here.
Nice to see you.
Thank you. So Cinderella is an audience favorite, and it's a great way to spend Mother's Day weekends. And I wanted to ask you both what you thought the staying power of this classic is with regards to dance and music.
Well, I think that one of the most, one of the evergreen stories about Cinderella is this idea of love at first sight. So I think that's a wonderful way to spend Mother's Day, is thinking about that.
Yes, great. And Peter?
Well, the music is so lush and beautifully orchestrated and very choreographable.
Great. Well, wonderful.
That's good.
It's very helpful in this case, isn't
Very
it?
helpful.
Well, we're so excited to see you at the rehearsal today, Stephen.
Yep.
Thank you so much.
Thank
And Peter,
you.
you'll join me.
All right, let's
forward.
go to work. All right, dancers. How about if we start at the beginning of this dance, please? You're kneeling, right? The prince is coming in, and we've got this little mime scene with the master of ceremonies, trying to decide which princess the prince is going to marry. So be very flirtatious, please. Okay, here we go. Good, good. I haven't seen that in a bit. Go to the beginning, if you would. Let's do some notes. You'll have to help me through. So you come down, you do the mime, which was lovely. Okay, can we see the bourrée? If you guys could go a little deeper as you go, as you start to come forward, right? So, right. So, what do I need to give you? 7, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, okay. This was all fine. Yeah, just that beginning, and it also happens when you have to do the pirouette when you go here and then you start to come down for the starburst there. Can you do the, you guys do the thing underneath the arms and the bourrées. Can you go any farther out? So if you guys are here, you're in attitude there. We've got you guys here, and we've got Frank here, and I wonder if you can get all the way out.
Oh. Think for the arabesque.
Don't be any farther down stage, just farther out. Yeah, yeah. Can we try that? So you're there. So let's go from the développé. 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 1. You think you can make it? Yeah. It's a lot of galloping, I know. I know it's a lot of bourrée. But also, you guys could go maybe a little sooner. When you leave that, when she's in attitude, you start to go. You go a little sooner. But when you make the arabesque, are you going this way or this way? I thought it was flat up stage. Flat up stage? I think probably.
Also joining us in the studio is Associate Artistic Director Michelle Martin. Michelle, what scene is Stephen rehearsing here, and what work still needs to be done on it?
Well, this is a scene from the second act of the ballet. It takes place at the ball in the palace, where the prince is presented with 4 princesses as candidates for marriage. So at the beginning of the scene, you saw the master of ceremonies reminding the prince that he's to choose one of the princesses to be his bride. And he used classical mime gestures, which are a series of storytelling hand gestures that have been a part of the classical ballet tradition for centuries. The dancers started learning this section about a week ago, so now they're in the process. Stephen is taking them through the process of refining or cleaning the dance. In particular, he's having them focus on unison, synchronizing their movements with the music and with one another, which is actually particularly challenging because this is slow. The music here is slow. It's an adagio movement. And so it's hard. The dancers all have to, there's a lot of time within each beat of the music, and so the dancers have to they have to interpret the same place in each beat, which is much more difficult than it sounds.
Right. Especially because the music is slow. And
exactly. There's a lot of latitude within each of the counts.
Yes, that's right. So our last 2 Ballet Austin live rehearsals have focused on contemporary ballet. And for Cinderella, we are looking at classical choreography here. How does that affect the dancers' preparations?
Well, because contemporary ballet has its roots in the same positions and movements as classical ballet, much of the daily preparation is the same. The dancers begin each and every day with the same classically focused ballet class, regardless of what choreography that they'll be working on after that. What does change, I would say, is the kind of stamina that they need to condition into their muscles. So classical choreography often includes a lot more repetition, things like a series of consecutive jumps or turns where the dancer will be on one leg for extended periods of time, and that has quite a bit of physical challenge to it. And so the dancers will have specific types of cross training that they'll do to build that particular kind of muscular strength and stamina for this choreography. Also for the women, I think that it changes how they prepare their point shoes. For classical choreography, again, because of that repetition of staying on the same foot or the same leg, they are going to want a point shoe that has a lot more support through the arch, and where the end of the point shoe is very flat so that they can balance. For contemporary work, where their weight is not completely over the center of their foot, they need a little bit more flexibility so that they can move more smoothly on and off point.
Okay. And so I heard you describe sort of a couple of different types of athleticism. I mean, classical and contemporary are both very athletic forms of ballet. It's just that the dancers have to work in different ways.
Exactly. It challenges their body in different ways.
Great, thank you.
3, 4, go 5 and 6 and 7 and 8 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right. Good. Okay. Now each one of these need just a little more articulation through the foot. I know you want to step in a particular place, but when you put the foot out, it needs more arch, if you could. 7, 8, 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 5. That's it. 6. That's it. Okay, this was fine. Now the chaînés go, and they go tombe back, and then you come up. This is where it's really so much
Submit
off
questions
that
to
it's
us in
really
two ways,
distracting.
via
So
Twitter by using the
if
hashtag
somehow,
BA Live and through the
I guess
chat
you guys
function
are the
on
most upstage
livestream.com if you
stage
have
left
a
people,
live
the
stream
most
account.
upstage. We could
Now I want to turn
not
to
do that so
Peter.
much, and you guys
Peter,
could
tell us about the
move
orchestra's
forward.
preparations for playing Cinderella.
What do I need to get
Well, the orchestra players get their music several weeks in advance of the first rehearsal, which is this coming Monday. And so they've had time to work out a lot of the technical issues in the music, and there are many of them in this particular piece. Then we have 2 rehearsals just to ourselves, and they're in the evenings, and they last about 2.5 hours with a break each, about 2:15 for each rehearsal. And there are only 2 of them, and then the next time I see them, we are in the pit for the dress rehearsal,
Wow.
and it's the only time we have to rehearse with the dancers on stage, and there's an audience present. So
Wow.
there's a lot of pressure to get it done by the time the dress rehearsal rolls around,
Right. Wow, that is incredible, and that's quite a feat.
so to speak.
Yes. No pun intended. So the music for Ballet Austin's Cinderella was written by Alexander Glazunov. However, Glazunov did not compose these pieces of music specifically for this ballet.
Right.
Please describe how the score for Ballet Austin's Cinderella came together, from what you know.
Well, Stephen is the one who selected the music. Now, there is a Cinderella ballet, and the score is by Prokofiev, but Stephen prefers this particular music, and his method, as far as I recall, is that he investigates different composers when he's putting together choreography for a particular story to tell, and he landed on Glazunov, which is a wonderful place to land, because Glazunov writes very lush, romantic, beautiful sounds, and much of Glazunov's music is very choreographable. There are lots of waltzes and things. In fact, one of the items that we play is called a concert waltz.
Oh.
And there are excerpts from, believe it or not, another ballet, a totally unrelated ballet called Raimonda, and some other excerpts from concert pieces. The Seasons of Glazunov is parts of that are used. So he finds the movements of Glazunov that fit the choreography and fit the story that he's trying to tell. And in every occasion that I've worked with him now, it's almost 18 years, the music has always fit the story beautifully, no matter what the source has been.
How wonderful. Thank you.
3, 4, and 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Can those turns, I know you're trying to be musically correct, can we just get them done? So you do the turns a little faster, and then you can hold in the position a little longer. So after you come down the second time, which is 8, okay. So let's try one more time. 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Do you want this right after the turn's over, or do you still want it on the same count we were doing? Because we were switching independently.
Just, so this would be 8, 1, 2, 11, 12. I think that do it in the normal time. 10, 12, yeah. Try it one more time. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I'm going to say no. 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, let's try it again. Ready? 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1. That's it. And you can cross this a little bit more when you come down, right? That's right. Good, good. Okay. Okay, let's go on. So we'll go on to the pas de deux. Thank you, guys. Okay, Cinderella. So we'll pick up in the end where you are pretending to be here with the fairy godmother, and you're going to dance with your handsome prince. Okay. Kissing for the camera. Good. Good.
Sorry, a little rough.
It's out of context. That's a hard thing. That's a hard thing to do. Good. I wonder if when you take her, you would have to, I think that little bow in the beginning is sort of superfluous anyway. So maybe you want to just...
I did it early musically without the...
That's okay. But I also think that maybe you want to go a little bit bigger when you go this way, that you come this way.
As you can see, Stephen is now rehearsing a pas de deux, or a dance of two, with one of our Cinderellas, Jamie Lynn Witz, and her prince, Frank Schott. Michelle, tell us why this will be a special production for Frank.
Well, after 16 years as a dancer with Ballet Austin, Frank is retiring at the end of this season. So this will mark his final performance with Ballet Austin. And I think it's also special because he's dancing with his wife, Jamie Lynn Witz, who's Cinderella.
It's just wonderful. They look really fabulous together.
They do.
Yeah. So Frank has also danced the role of Cinderella's prince when we last performed the ballet in 2009. When dancers revisit roles, how do they keep their parts fresh for the audience and for themselves?
Well, I think definitely repeating a role allows dancers to really get a sense of their progress and growth in terms of their technical mastery, because generally, several years, in this case, 6 or 7 years have gone by since Frank's last danced this role. Definitely he's gotten stronger and improved as a dancer. But what I think is even more significant, particularly for the audience, is the personal growth and the new life experiences that each dancer brings back to their role. Ultimately, dance is about people and about their stories, and so whether it's a dance with a very specific story like Cinderella, or something that's a little less literal, like the work that we did last month with the Graham Reynolds Project, it's still about people, and dancers are human, and so they bring their own experiences and their own stories and their own context. So for example, Frank, the last time he danced this role, was dancing with a different Cinderella, and now he's dancing with his wife, so they have their own love story that, of course, they're bringing to these roles. They also have a child, and so I can imagine that for them, they're also thinking a little bit about, in a child's eyes, the characters in Cinderella, those storybook characters, and what does that represent in a child's eyes, and so also bringing that. I think that's one of the really most beautiful parts about live performance, is that dancers interpret characters and movement through their own personal experiences and their own personal context. And then on the other side, the audience is interpreting the characters and the movements through their experiences and personal context. And so when you sit in a theater in a live performance, it's that coming together, that blending of those two different kinds of contexts, that it's a palpable energy. And I think that's what makes live performance so special.
Yeah, and so exciting too.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. So Peter, 2 different couples will be dancing this pas de deux during our performances. Each couple may prefer their own pace for certain movements. How do you find the tempo that works for the dancers and the musicians, and when does that happen in the process?
Well, before I even see the orchestra, I'm here at the studio where this rehearsal is taking place twice to see 2 complete run-throughs. And it's at that time that I watch the dancers, and if there are any variations in tempos between one cast and the other, that's when it's brought to my attention, if I haven't figured it out already, that one pair is slightly slower or faster than the other. I think in general, though, at least over the last dozen years or so, Stephen has tried to make the 2 casts more similar. But on occasion, I'll come to the studio and they play the recording, which they rehearse to, and sometimes the recording is either sped up one day or slowed down depending on the couple that's dancing. Right. But then when it comes to the performances, it's really up to me to remember these slight variations of tempo, to get the tempos memorized in my body, and then also watch, of course, because they're all human beings. They all have physical issues from one day to the next, and if one day it seems like they're more hepped up, maybe I'll push the tempo a little bit more to complement what they're doing.
Okay, great.
But it's just a lot of sort of tempo memorization and watching.
Right, and that's a big job, because it
Well,
sets the
that
whole
is my
pace for the
job.
ballet.
That's
right.
my job for the ballet. It's less my personal interpretation of the music, but it's more finding the tempos that are right for the dancers.
Right.
And for the choreographer.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Peter. We're going to watch a little bit of Stephen and the dancers now.
On my shoulder, so I don't know if that's even possible, but it's a little bit pedantic in that way.
Yeah, if the lift goes that well, that is.
Right. Yeah. Good. It feels like, because see what happens is it's the majority of the lift happens back here when you're making that transition. So it feels like the arm, like the head gets lost, and all that I see are the toes. So
I was thinking of backing up flat. From here, should I go
that would help.
this way?
Yeah, that might help. And also, if you're in that position, do you have any capacity to open your arms or something to do something that's...
Michelle, this season has included such a great mix of classical and contemporary ballets, and two mixed repertoire productions with works that may have been new to our audience. What can we look forward to next season?
Well, next season will be a similar mix of all different kinds of work. We're going to start the season with a mixed repertory program, so a program that features 3 different pieces of choreography, and we are calling this choreography or this production To China with Love, because it is the precursor to a month-long tour that Ballet Austin will be making in China. And so before we go on the tour, we want to share the repertoire that we'll be performing with our audience here in Austin. And that will feature choreography by Stephen Mills, some favorites that people will recognize, Wolftanz from the Mozart project, as well as Liminal Glam that we did as part of the Glass project a few years ago. Then we will, of course, be performing the Nutcracker. We will reprise Stephen's production of Belle Redux, a retelling of Beauty and the Beast, which is just a really wonderful retelling of this classic tale, a very rich story with as I was talking earlier about the interpretation of characters. It's just really brilliant in that way. We will also be doing Stephen's production of The Magic Flute, which the magic of this magic flute is a lot to do with the shadow puppets, these giant shadow puppets that appear and interact with the characters. And then we will close with a production of Alice in Wonderland, which is choreographed by Septime Weber, who is actually the retiring artistic director of the Washington Ballet. A few years ago, some audiences might remember we have also performed Septime's Peter Pan. And so Alice in Wonderland is on that same scale of just fabulous sets and costumes and just very fantastic adventure.
Oh, how fun. That sounds like a wonderful season. Very excited to see it.
Don't know.
What if we did a single, but you thought of like the turn floating a little bit more initially, so that it was a little slower going into?
See, it's that transition that worked better.
Okay.
That worked better because she got to a real attitude before she put her foot down. Can you do one more time? Because if you have the time, but go ahead. Instead of you're trying to put the foot down in front. Go ahead and put it 5th back, and then bourrée. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That'll change your balance. Last time. There you go. That's it. That's it. Right. And then this lift was good. The throws were good, right?
I can't feel what it looks like at all.
The second one is just a little quick.
Yeah, we're still just doing it late for 8 and 1.
It's okay. It's okay. But I wonder, okay, so then you do the last lift, and when you're walking back, what if you could just, instead of walking into the sunshine like that, if you were to put your head, like find a way to find that, make that comfortable, right? Right. Put your, yeah. I think maybe that does not look so comfortable, huh? But maybe if you were to put this arm down like this when you go, yeah. Right, that's right. And now you go. I think that's better. And you don't have to walk in tempo. You can just walk normally, whatever makes it comfortable to make that happen. Can we try that one more time? Say you did that last lift. Right.
Thank you for joining us for another edition of Ballet Austin Live. I'm PEI-SAN Brown, your host. Thanks also to Stephen, Peter Bay, Michelle Martin, and the dancers for allowing us inside the studio to see their final preparations. Don't forget to get your tickets for Cinderella Mother's Day weekend, May 6th through 8th at the Long Center. You can purchase them on our official website, www.balletaustin.org, or at our Long Center box office just prior to the performances. And if you want to be in the know before you go, check out our official website. Also, at the performances, we'll have our interactive Discovery Lounge, Balletomania. Thank you again, and we hope to see you at the ballet.